Today we are going to talk about variables and operators. And at the end we'll have a coding challenge. Hi, my name is Brendan and today we are going to discuss Python variables and operators. Right, so what is a variable? A variable is a temporary storage location in memory that you give a name. Example, A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals some string, and D we'll give it a float value 6.9. Right, so the basic variable types or the basic data types in Python are integers, floats, and string values. Okay, so A is an integer, C is a string, and D is a float. Now in Python you don't have to declare the type of the variable when you declare it. Python takes on the data type when you declare, and the value that is signed to the variable, it takes on that type. So a number is known as an integer in programming. So A has a data type of integer, C has a data type of string, and D has a data type of float, because they take on their types when they are declared. So you can see the types by using the type function, which I'll show you now. I'm going to just do a bit of copy and pasting here so you don't have to see me type. So A, B, or B I've got, A, yeah, so let's go C and then D, and then I'll just remove that last one, seeing that we don't need it. Okay, so this will give us what those types are. So I'm just going to run this little program and you can see it comes back as integer, string, and float. So those are the basic types that we are dealing with now. You do get others, more complex types, which we'll deal with in later lessons. Right, now you can also convert types. Okay, so once it is declared as an integer, you can convert it to something else if you need to in your code. Let's say I wanted to print and I wanted to add those two numbers, A plus B. Okay, so I wanted to add that. It would give me the number 3. But let's say what I actually wanted to do is I wanted to concatenate them. I wanted to show the number 12. Okay, so how would I now say, okay, I've got these as integers. I don't want to add them. I want to concatenate them. So you would just convert these to strings. So because you can only concatenate strings, right? So you would change that to a string and you say, right, now it should show me the number of 12. As you can see, it shows you the number of 12. I have converted, although it was declared and assigned integers, I have converted it to a string. So because it's converted there, if I went and I printed it, let's say I did it again here and I said A plus B, would it still be a string? Or would it go back to its original value? Right, as you can see, it's not permanent. It doesn't change it permanently here on after. If I wanted to change it permanently, I would have to do the conversion and assign it to another variable. Okay? Or overwrite the same variable with that. So example, if I did this, A equals A, okay, and B equals B. Right, now I'm converting it and I'm assigning it back into the memory location. Now that would give me the number 12 again without having to do the conversion. Okay, let's see if that is actually true, and it is. So now you can see there I'm temporarily converting it to show the print statement. Here I'm converting it and I'm assigning it back into its original variable, so it becomes permanent. Then I no longer have to do conversions. Okay, and you can convert anything. You can use int conversion, you can use float conversion. So another example would be, let's say request a number from the user, input, please enter a number to multiply by 2, example. So that is what I want from the user, and I want to print the answer. Okay, and then I want to put there, so I would say, okay, let's use concatenation. I'll say num right multiplied by 2, because that's the question. Okay, now let's run that. Now it's asking me, please enter a number to multiply by 2. So let's say 10, and keep it simple here. The answer is 1010. And you're going like, but that's not correct. That's not what I want. So what is it doing? Well, when you're using concatenation, okay, it's taking the number and it's repeating it 2 times. But why is that? Why is it not doing the multiplication? So we have to go and say, okay, so what is number or num? What is num? Num is what type? So we can see that. Let's use our type function. Okay, and it should tell you that num. Okay, so let's just answer the question, and it says num is actually a string. So you go, aha, so input returns a string value. And if you go and you research it, the input function always returns whatever you put in here, it always returns as a string. So now you say, okay, but I want this to be an integer. Okay, so we can convert it. So we wrap this whole thing around in the conversion function, and you say, right, get the number, then convert it and store it in the variable number, num. Okay, then so now the type of num should be integer because I've converted it, correct? So now it should say the answer is, and now it will do the multiplication. So let's see what it does. So use 10 again. Right, now it's giving you a different error. It's saying, okay, but now I cannot concatenate an integer because this multiplication now does the multiplication, returns an integer, and it goes now, okay, but now I cannot concatenate this. So how do we fix that? So, okay, so convert it to string. After you've done the multiplication, after you've done the calculation, convert it to a string and then display it. Okay, so let's do that again. So 10. Right, now it's going to give me, it's going to show me that the type of num is an integer. It's going to do the calculation, it's going to convert it again, and then it's going to concatenate it, or it's going to concatenate the answer to the string value here. So it's going to show the answer is 20, which is correct. Okay, that is how you use conversion. Okay, let's discuss operators. Right, there are 4 basic types of operators: addition, subtraction, multiplication, which is the asterisk, and the / is division. Okay, so those are the basic multiplication values. So I'm going to declare 2 variables here, num1 and num2. You'll see I am declaring my variable with a number at the end, not at the beginning, because if if I went and put a number there, Python would complain, okay, because you cannot start variables with a number. You cannot start variables with any special character, okay, like that. Yeah, or if I put like a special character, like let's say I used $1 there, it would also complain. Which you can't start a variable with a special character. Okay. Right. So now we're going to use this maths. So let's do some print statements here, and let's do the maths. Num1, and you can see Python actually shows you what variables you've declared. Okay, so you can actually just pick it from the list by pushing tab, or you can scroll to it and then hit tab and it will complete it. Okay, I'm just going to use print. I'm just going to copy and paste these out. And then, right, so let's minus it. That's going to give you a negative answer. Let's multiply it and divide it. Right. Let's see what we get. Okay, I need to comment that out. So let's just finish that through. Just going to comment out this code here so we don't keep rerunning it. To batch comment out a whole block of code is Control and the question mark key or the / on your keyboard. Okay, so let's just do that piece of code. Right, so your first answer, 9 plus 3 is 12. 1, which is, okay, so 3 minus 9 will give you a negative number. Okay. The multiplication, 3 times 9 is 27. And then the division. Okay, so what do we have here? 3 divided by 9 is 0.3333 recurring. Okay. Right, so that will return a float value. Okay, so if we did this other way around, let's see if you did like so, and right, would you also get a float value? The answer is yes. If you are doing division, it will always return it in a float value. Even though there is no decimal part, it will give you whatever it is, .0. Okay. Now let's go on to the other operators, the more advanced ones. You'll get integer division, which is 2 division symbols. You'll get the exponent, which is raised to the power, which is 2 multiplication symbols. And then you'll get modulus. I'll explain that in more detail. Right, so integer division. Let's use this example here. But I'm going to swap it around. 1 and 2. So previously we saw that is 0.33333, okay, as division. Right, I will show that again. So you get 0.333, right? But if I do integer division, what will I get? I will get 0. Why? Because it has just excluded everything after the decimal point. It doesn't round it up, it doesn't round it down, it just chops it off. It says only give me the whole number, and that's what integer division does. Only give me the integer part of the result. Okay. Now exponent. I'm going to actually use num1 raised to its own num1. Right, so that should give you 3 to the power of 3 should give you 27, right? Okay, 27, there it is. Because that's 3 to the power of 3 is 27. Right. Now, modulus needs a bit more explanation, so I'm not going to use the variables. I'm going to use another example. So I'm going to say 12 modulus 5. Now, what modulus does is it only returns the remainder portion of a division. Now, you might think, oh, okay, that is the opposite of integer division. Okay, it's the opposite of integer division, where integer division gives you the whole number, the int part, and modulus will then give me the 33333 part, but that is not in fact the case. Okay, it will be the remainder of 2, because in maths it does the division. It says 12 divided by 5. 5 goes into 12 twice, and there is a remainder of what is left over, 2. Okay, it does not give you what you would expect. If you did the division using that, you get 2.4. It doesn't give you the 0.4. Okay, it gives you the remainder, the correct maths remainder. When you were doing maths at school and you're doing division and you said 12 divided by 5, you say, okay, 5 goes into 12 2 times, okay, and you say 2 times 5 is then 10, and you subtract the 2 and you get a remainder of 2. Okay, you can't divide 5 into 2, so that's where your sum ends, and you get, so the answer is 2 and the remainder is 2. Okay, so that displays only the remainder portion. Right, I hope I explained that well for you guys to understand. Right, let's move on to operator precedence. Now maths has a precedence. Okay, so the order of which calculations are done. Okay, so let's see, 50 plus 2 multiplied by 4 minus 5. Okay, so now you look at that and you say, okay, this is easy. I just go from left to right. 50 plus 2 times 4 minus 5 will give me an answer. But that is not correct. Maths operators have an order of precedence. Okay, if there is no brackets, you do division and multiplication is done first from left to right, and then addition and subtraction is done after that from left to right. Okay, so the answer here, the correct answer would be, that would be done first. 2 times 4 is 8. To then add the 50, because then you go left to right, so say 50 plus 8 is 58 minus 5. You could also do it the other way around. You could say 8 minus 5 is 3 plus the 50. So the answer here would be 53. That would be the correct answer. Okay, not 203. Okay, because 50 plus 2 is 52 times 4 is 208 minus 5 is not 203. If, however, you want to change the order of precedence, you use brackets. So now let's force this order and say, I want to do the addition first, because that is my formula. So I want to force an order. So then it would do the addition first, then it would do the multiplication, and then it would subtract the 5, because multiplication is higher than would be done before subtraction. Okay, so this answer would give you 203. Okay, right, stay tuned for the challenge. Thanks. Okay, so here's the coding challenge. The coding challenge is ask for the user's name and then calculate their BMI index and display it back in a nice formatted string. The BMI calculation is the weight divided by the height squared. Weight is in kilograms and height is in meters. Okay, so go off and try that on your own and come back and we'll check the solution. Try that now. Okay, so here's the solution. Using only what we have done so far. Okay, so name, declare a variable name, get a value using the input function. So we want their weight. And we want their height. Okay, so those are 3 variables, and then we're going to display it back in a nicely formatted string. I'm going to declare another variable here just to make it easier to work with. I'm going to calculate the BMI. So you'll take the BMI will equal to the weight, right, divided by, and then we're going to take their height and we're going to square it. Okay, and that will give you a BMI, right? Okay, right. Now we have their BMI. So now we want to display it in a string. So we're going to print it out in a formatted string. So hi, and then name, your BMI index value is BMI. Okay, and that should be the solution. Okay, so let's run that. Okay, I'm running variables that I was working with earlier, so let's go run. Coding challenge 1. Okay, first let's stop that other thing. Stop it. Okay, let's start again. Run it. Okay, cool. Your name, and then what is your weight? I'm gonna be 9, and my height is let's say 2 meters. Okay. Now, what is the problem here? Right, as we dealt with, we've got a type error. It says unsupported. Okay, so what is it trying to tell me? Remember what we discussed? Input always returns a string. So what have I not done? I haven't converted them. So I'm going to convert them here. Okay, so weight can be a float value. So I'm going to convert this to a float. Okay, so that coming back there. And your height can also be a float value. Right, and do the conversion there. Right, so that should now fix this error. Okay, let's see. Name. And we'll make it, I don't know, let's say 1.67. Right. Hi, Brendan. Your BMI index value is so-and-so. Okay, so that string doesn't look so great. Let's be, hi, Brendan. Let's put a comma in there maybe and make that your BMI index. So that is the solution, guys. Hope you got to the correct answer. Keep trying if you didn't. Check your answer against the BMI calculator until you do get it right. But there's the solution. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe to the channel.